Yeah, I got nothing. Usually I start these adventuring days with some witty banter or some tease at whatever we're going to encounter, but I've generally got nothing. I want to be out of this dungeon as much as you do. Look at it this way. Ever since we started this journey, it's been nothing but Monster Girl after Monster Girl. I mean, sure, there's the occasional town we visited and we were able to rest for a few days, but I don't really count those. And that's only because when we got up, our days were spent rechecking our items, making sure our gear is all in working condition, and then restocking for when we set out again. What I'm saying is, both of us need a nice, long vacation as soon as we reach the Eastern Isles. Especially after this next Monster Girl, which I don't even think I can consider a Monster Girl, but technically it is. So let's get right into it. Let me introduce you to Monster Girl number 62, the Roper. The Roper is a tentacle monster type Monster Girl, and they belong to the family of Roper. Their habitats are unknown, their natures are lustful, and their diets consist of the essence of human men. The Roper is a monster with a human torso and a curious lower body composed of a pliable mass, like that of a slime, from which extends long tentacles. Some speculate that Ropers are a type of plant monster, but this has not yet been confirmed. Whatever the case, their form is not originally monstrous, as it is believed that Ropers are human women who have been infested with a monster parasite. A Roper begins her life in a round shell, much like an egg. An adult Roper uses her tentacles to bind a human woman, inserting this Roper egg into her vagina with one of her ovipositional tentacles. In time, the Roper egg in the woman germinates like a plant, extending small tentacles that root in the woman's womb and fuse with the host. The parasitic Roper then transforms her host's body from the inside out, from flesh into congealed slime. From this mass, several tentacles emerge. This is considered the Roper's larval stage, in which the host still retains full awareness as the human has not yet fused adequately with the Roper to control the tentacles, which move as they please independently of her will. To complete the final stage of her transformation, the Roper-infested woman requires the semen of a human man. When the transitional Roper senses the presence of a man, her autonomous tentacles wind about the host's body, twining over her breast and squeezing roughly, entering her mouth and injecting quantities of a sugary viscous liquid that raises her passions. Tentacles also invade her vagina, sliding noisily against its flesh. The host emits a lurid moan which attracts the Roper's intended prey. When a man has been successfully drawn close, the tentacles seize him and extract his semen. Once the Roper has absorbed the man's semen, she merges seamlessly with her host. The once human host has now become one with the adult Roper and is capable of moving her tentacles at will as easily as her arms or legs. However, the confusion and heady thrill of the tentacles in her body leave her with little attention for anything except seeking men and more pleasure. Such singular devotion to eroticism proves that she has become a monster completely. Now that she is fully a Roper, she will often touch herself with her tentacles with far fiercer and lewder devotion than when she had no power over them, all in the hope of invoking the base passions of a man. When one nears, she uses her tentacles to seize him and close and guide him to her. This time, rather than simply extracting his essence, she uses the tentacles as well as the rest of her body to mate with him and imbibe his essence with her sex. Furthermore, in the adult stage, the host and the tentacles share senses. All of the stimulation experienced by the tentacles is passed on to the host as pleasure. When at last the captured man's essence is obtained, the Roper finds a human woman and lays a new Roper egg in her uterus, thus perpetuating the survival of her race. Such is the Roper's mean of reproduction. Interestingly, if the host is wearing clothing when a Roper begins transforming her, the Roper interprets the clothing as part of the body and makes it so by melting it with the rest of her. These same generative abilities allow its trunk and tentacles to recover from damage in a moderate amount of time. When a clothed Roper copulates with a man, she can melt her clothes at will to expose her human flesh, or the clothes can be torn by ordinary methods. As her body interprets either as damage, once she finishes copulating, her clothes are regenerated perfectly. With this information at mind, I would place the Roper's threat level as mild. They pose little to no threat to a single hunter. There's only 3 key features of the Roper: their slimy body, which is more lubricative than anything, and the fact that they're a parasitic type monster girl, which is exceedingly rare for monster girls. And finally, the fact that they have multiple tendrils, which is a given. We can sum up the Roper's weaknesses as these 3. They have average physical capabilities, more akin to a human with multiple arms than anything. And just to be clear, I'm gonna call them tendrils, not tentacles. They don't have any suction cups, so they're just kind of like blunt, slimy things. They also have no offensive capabilities. If the tendrils were actually tentacles with suction cups, you may have a little more problems, but because they're tendrils, they just can overwhelm you. They can't really hold you down unless a lot of them wrap you around. That's not to say the roper doesn't have its fair share of strengths. For instance, the simple fact that they have multiple tendrils. For a hunter, we only have 2 arms. For a roper, they have, let's say, a minimum of 8. Due to their lifestyle and nature as a sort of parasite, they also have perfect disguises. If those tendrils aren't flailing about, it's actually quite hard to discern an actual human from a roper. Lastly is their regeneration. Now, I don't know how strong their regeneration is, but it is enough to regenerate clothing. I'm not entirely sure if they're able to regenerate tendrils or limbs, though. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Due to the fact that the roper's habitats are unknown, they can just be found about anywhere. Well, at least anywhere that humans can be found. The best course of action is to just have what you deem necessary in the event you encounter one. This can be bolas for their arms or ice magic for their slime. I'd like to reiterate, due to their classification of having an unknown habitat, you cannot easily encounter a roper. They can be found closer to human settlements or anywhere humans roam, but again, that can be absolutely anywhere. So if anything, stay cautious and stay safe. There's only really one method for subjugation. The first thing is to spot the roper. You can look for tendril movement under their clothing, or look for slime trails. The second step is to move the roper to a sealed container. Water resistant is probably your best bet here, and it's quite easy. You just have to use your own wit and wile to get them in that container. And then, determine the state of growth that the roper is in. The third step is the most important. If you find out that the roper is in their larval stage, you have to find the adult, no matter what. So long as the adult isn't captured, it will continue to infect people and increase the roper population. Step 4 is easy. If you find out it's an adult, you can exit the room immediately before he gets herself captured. And don't forget to seal the room. And lastly, step number 5. Get that roper to one of the guild-approved foe towns, and subjugation is then complete. My final thoughts on the roper are a definite 2 out of 10. I am just not a fan of the stereotypical ambiguous tentacle monster when octopuses and squids exist with tentacles that have actual suckers and designs to them. And I keep calling it a parasite type monster girl when it's really just a parasite type monster. The girl is just an addition to the tentacles, which are actually the monster. So whether or not you actually classify this one as a monster girl is all up to you. I personally wouldn't see it as one. Yeah, sorry, Rookie. I haven't been exactly eager or excited to go over this monster girl because it's genuinely not one of my favorites. But hey, at least we know about them. And up ahead are vastly superior monster girls to learn and study. And I'm excited for those ones. So onward into the fray, and let's go find ourselves some more interesting monster girls. I'd like to give a huge thanks to Pharaoh71 for their support during the Save the Guild Donathon. And another thanks to the channel members, BonesMD98. Thank you for your support. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Furthermore, links will be in the description for all of my social media, such as my Discord where you can talk to other hunters, or my Twitch where I'll be live on occasion. And if you want to further help the guild, you can even join the memberships and have your name read out at the end. I'll see you all soon, hunters. Good luck and good hunting. Instructor, signing off.